Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Tahisha Moyes, working from home alongside Maddie Gardner and Eric Chilton.
This is an interactive news show. It is built to connect you with your community and with us. So during the breaks, we chat with you on our live streams. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected.
Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett provided her opening statements just hours ago before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Now, today marked day one of the committee hearings. Now, Senate Democrats focused on opening statements about the American Health Care Act, arguing Barrett could pose a threat to it. They are linking her fast-paced confirmation hearings to the upcoming hearing involving the ACA just 1 week after the election. Another big argument lawmakers are making is that they say the Supreme Court is not a third branch of Congress. Their job is to uphold the law, not make laws.
You're not a policymaker. You're a judge.
With one stroke of a pen, one judge can decide if millions of Americans, including their family, would lose their insurance.
Republicans warned Barrett Democrats would question her Catholic religion, but Democrats made it clear they do not intend to question Barrett on her faith.
Well, we look at temperatures today out in the Triad, and pretty comfortable overall, right? 68 degrees right now at the airport. We've got Raleigh at 72. It bumps up, though. Fayetteville's at 79. And Wilmington in the low 80s at 83. You can see that cooler air starting to filter in from the north and to the west. But really, it ends up being a good stretch of days, really, for the next 2 or 3 days. Tonight, we do have the cloud cover out there. Some areas of fog will develop. We might see that toward the morning hours, as we usually do. Be careful of that. But 61 for the low tonight. That'll be your step out temperature tomorrow morning. 75 for the high tomorrow. Eventually, once that fog burns off, we're looking at partly sunny skies, we think, overall. It will remain fairly cloudy, we think, for the remainder of the night tonight and into the early morning hours tomorrow. Look at the radar now. You see a couple little sprinkles maybe in the mountain communities. More of that rain is really down east from Raleigh toward Fayetteville and down to the coast. That's where we're seeing. So from the Sandhills to the coastal plain, a scattered shower or two, but nothing really major as far as that goes. Here's what it looks like when you look at the systems and see how everything is shaping up. Basically, you just have a couple of frontal boundaries. The low pressure that we see off the coast there, that continues its trek on to the east. Another cold front chasing back behind that. Really, that'll start to push through by Tuesday evening. It ends up being a good stretch of about 3 days, starting with tomorrow and all going through Thursday. By Friday, we have a rain chance that slips back into the forecast, but again, we don't expect it to be a major when you're looking at really about a 30% chance of a shower. That'll be on Friday, but highs cool down. Look at this. 40s and 60s for highs and lows. That's as we head through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We look for mostly sunny skies during that period.
Louisiana residents are cleaning up the aftermath of Hurricane Delta. Delta made landfall Friday night with wind speeds up to 100 miles per hour. Families were just starting to make progress after Hurricane Laura hit 2 weeks ago. Now, there are at least 2 storm-related deaths that we know of in Louisiana. One man in his late 80s died in a fire linked to a generator.
Let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup. A black man who was led by a rope by 2 white police officers on horseback in Texas is getting $1 million from the city. A lawsuit filed against Galveston says Donald Neely suffered humiliation and fear during his arrest. Neely is now seeking a jury trial. Police arrested him for trespassing and led him around the block. He was homeless at the time and sleeping on the sidewalk. The Federal Trade Commission says North Carolinians have lost $4 million in fraud related to COVID-19. Now our state has a hotline that could save you big. You can dial 211 and speak to a trained specialist who is familiar with 90,000 resources to help. It's meant to work like a number you'd call to report a car break-in, but for digital crime. Teen climate and environmental activist GRETA Thunberg endorsed Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. She shared an endorsement of Biden from Scientific American on Twitter, saying she never engages in party politics, but the U.S. election is above and beyond all of that. Thunberg gained global attention when she encouraged students to skip school in Sweden to demand action on climate change in 2018. She was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize and was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2019. And 2 more Americans are taking home Nobel Prizes. Paul Milgram and Robert Wilson won the prize in economics for improving how auctions work. Their work underlies much of today's economy, from how Google sells ads to the way telecom companies get airwaves from the government.
The winners of this year's Moguls in the Making event were announced. The event featured 50 students from HBCUs across the country tasked to come up with a business plan. Well, North Carolina A&T students participated in the event this year, but unfortunately did not win. This year's winner was from Alabama A&M University. The top 3 teams are taking home prizes and an internship at Ally Financial if they choose. Each member of the first place team gets a $10,000 scholarship.
We all know the pandemic hit the airline industry incredibly hard, but you're going to hear from officials at PTI in just a minute about the industry in general, but also what does it mean for our airports here at home as the economy starts to slowly return. So one of the hardest hit industries during the pandemic, of course, has been the airline industry. But after about 6 months or so, where do we stand now? I spoke with Airport Authority Executive Director Kevin Baker to get the latest. Kevin, thanks for taking time out today. I know it's a Monday. We're getting things rolling. I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of just the state of the union when it comes to the airline industry. We know that it's been hard hit with this pandemic. I don't think sometimes we realize just how tough it's been. But for the industry as a whole, what's happening?
Yeah, Eric. Well, it's obviously been pretty bad. Back in the beginnings of the pandemic, flying went to nearly zero around the world. Really, we went down to about 2.5% of our normal operations, and that was pretty much in line with the entire industry. Now, since then, the industry at large and us, again, we're tracking just right along with it, has come up to about 30 or 35% of normal operations. From airport to airport, there's some differences there. Certainly, it's a lot better than it was back in April, but we're still significantly below where we should be.
So for us, with an airport of our size and in our region, I know obviously it doesn't mean great things for us, but how does that affect us? And will it affect us in a good way with the airline rates maybe going down?
Well, for any smaller market airports are going to be impacted by events like this worse than the larger market airports, obviously. And what it has meant to us is a loss of some markets altogether, temporarily at least, and certainly less frequencies to some other markets. But as long as the demand remains after we get past this, the airlines just follow where that demand is. So if the demand remains here for folks to fly, they'll get back on those airplanes and the planes will return.
Very good, Kevin. Thanks so much for your time today, man. We wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, let's get things back to normal as soon as possible. So as things slowly get back to normal, I wanted to ask you about flying. Where do you stand on all this? Or do you want to fly? Would you fly? Why or why not? I asked you this on Facebook. Here's what you had to say. Renee says, not as safe as it was pre-9/11. So I'm just being cautious. And if I need to fly, I leave it in God's hands. Heidi says, I flew to California last week and it was fine. Everyone was courteous, used masks. I felt perfectly safe. Dolores says, I'm not so afraid of flying as I am being in the crowded airport because I think the planes are carefully sanitized and it seems that they practice social distancing. Susan says, never liked flying before COVID. No way I'll fly now. And Brandy said, just flew to Arizona recently and would do it again. So people on both sides of this, I think it does, I have to say it would make me feel a little anxious, but I think I could get through that as long as I feel like everything has been sanitized and really just keeping distance from folks.
Yeah, I have to say I've been on a few flights through this pandemic, and the biggest thing for me is just cleanliness, right? I'm the type of person that I carry my own wipes with me so that I can wipe down the seat handles. And in a number of flights that I've been on, the flight attendants will give you kind of like a little personal sachet that you can kind of open yourself and wipe down everything. So that, and everyone wearing the masks on board, that makes me feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah, and now with the new CDC guidance and the guidance from the World Health Organization that's saying it's not so much surfaces as it is those droplets in the air, the masks are really the big thing. I mean, if everyone on board is wearing a mask, it certainly cuts down on the transmission rate of COVID-19, among other sicknesses and viruses that tend to circulate on airplanes as well. So I think I will say this, it depends on the airline. Not everyone is following the same guidelines. Everyone is doing things a little bit differently. So if you are worried about it, I would definitely check in with your airline to see what they're doing to keep people safe. Well, coming up next on the 4 to 5, some of us, we picked up hobbies during the lockdown. Others, though, when searching for their birth family. We're taking a walk with one man on his journey to find his family. That's next. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. At the height of the pandemic, during shutdowns, we all had a lot of time on our hands. CBS News' Chris Martinez is introducing us to one man who used that time to find the family that he never knew.
Philip Harrisek, seen here with his wife and child, always knew he was adopted, but never looked for his birth family until his son came home with a school project.
It was a map and it was color, your origins or where your family's from. And I had to tell him, like, I'm really not sure. So that kind of sparked my interest. And then when the COVID hit, we had so much time to do all this stuff. So
the 35-year-old took an ancestry DNA test and quickly discovered a connection.
First thing I saw was a mother and an aunt. My aunt reached out to me immediately.
This summer, he was able to hug his aunt, who only lives a couple hours away. He hasn't met his mother yet, but they've spoken a few times by phone.
Awesome. That was great.
Philip isn't the only one looking for family during the pandemic. Ancestry.com saw a 37% increase in new subscribers from March to July.
They want to fill that void.
Jay Rosenzweig is the founder of BirthParentFinder.com and says the pandemic is causing people to think about their mortality and giving many adoptees a sense of urgency. In the past few months, he's seen a big boost in clients wanting to find their birth families.
Our numbers have almost doubled. Not quite, but they've almost doubled. And it's pretty amazing.
Phil also met some cousins and discovered a brother who he plans to visit eventually.
That was a crazy feeling. That was nuts. It's like 35 years of being clueless, and all of a sudden within 10 seconds, it's like, here's everything.
After never knowing his heritage, Phil discovered he's Puerto Rican. He's hoping to take a trip there one day with his newfound family.
Oh, I love that for him. And I love that we have all of this technology and these services now. So if you are someone who doesn't know your family, your birth family, and you want to find them, you're able to do that with this DNA swab test kit.
Yeah, and to just be only a few hours away from your family, and that one gentleman who was profiled here, I mean, I can't even imagine, long lost family and finally being able to hug in person. And just know that there is this technology out there, right? Maddie, even if you think everyone in your family, there's a second cousin twice removed that I'm sure you'll find out about.
It's funny because, and Maddie, we had talked about this recently. I just like a month ago got into Ancestry.com. It's funny, he said they've upped their number of people doing it. And I could link back within a matter of probably about 4 days of doing this, maybe a couple hours a day. I went all the way back to the 1400s with my family. So it's amazing what you can do.
Yeah, I went pretty far back on Ancestry, not during the pandemic, although I did have more time when we were on lockdown. But I haven't done the DNA swab test yet. Not so sure about that one just yet, but it is clearly helping people make those connections.
And in a pandemic, I mean, that's what it's all about. A lot of people thinking about family during this time and kind of what's important in life. And of course, families up there.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting that he said a lot of people were thinking about their mortality too during all of this. Certainly, unfortunately, on the back of many people's minds.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming up after the break, when we get a camera, we like to take a picture of a good side, but of course our furry friends, our pants, can't do that. So pet owners on social media are sharing unflattering photos of their cats. We're taking a look at some of the candid shots next.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Okay, any pet owner can tell you that they have hundreds, if not thousands, of photos of their furry friend, and not all of them are cute because they're animals and they don't cooperate. Well, now Twitter users are sharing unflattering cat photos to give us a chuckle this Monday. We have to take a look at a few of these. Jillian has this picture of her 2 cats. Pretty unflattering there, but also, you know, just a candid shot. Penny says this is Fred, and this was pretty difficult to find an unflattering cat photo because he doesn't really take one, but snout down, still cute, she says. Love that. Alexis said, okay, not that unflattering, but my cats refuse to be caught off guard. Pretty smart model cats there. And Kristen says, unflattering cat photos is trending. What I have none of those because my cat is a beauty icon. And yeah, that's a beautiful cat. But Joe, even though Frank says he's never taken an unflattering photo, and that one is pretty cute. Joe, I'm sure, was not prepared for that one because he looks like he is snoozing. And I find Stewie, my cat, in some very unflattering poses, but somehow he always just shapes up and poses. Maybe because he's my cat. He knows when the camera's on, you got to be ready.
Yeah, he takes after his mother in that way, right? But I love seeing photos of Stewie, and I love seeing photos of Boot Scoots and Figaro, which are Tim Buckley's cats, because he likes to just take pictures when they were like crawling all over the cabinets and just in weird areas in the house. I love it.
Tim is also a photographer. Like, he has the real deal
Stewie made the
camera.
morning meeting.
Stewie did make the morning meeting today.
Stewie was in the morning meeting.
You're exactly right. He pops up in our Zoom calls from time to time, either because he's jumping onto my keyboard to try to get my breakfast that I'm eating while we're at the meeting, or I just turn the camera around and show him to you guys because he's perfect. Perfect.
I see what you did there.
We did that. Hey, you can always find pictures of Stewie on my Facebook page or my Twitter page or my Instagram. You know, they're everywhere. I'm that person.
Proud mom. It's all right.
All right, let's take a look at our forecast. I want to talk about the leaves changing. A lot of folks are starting to reach out to us on social media and through email saying, where are the leaves changing? Well, obviously higher elevations. First, that is peak color, actually, at this point, from Jefferson down to Boone and Blowing Rock and Grandfather Mountain and Mount Mitchell, of course, the highest peak. All of that seeing peak color right now. High color, or at least a lot of it, though, that stretches westward, or eastward, rather, into western Wilkes County and western Surrey County. And then moderate color goes from basically barely Greensboro, but Greensboro west through Winston-Salem and northern parts of Davidson County, all the way into the foothill regions. And then it's low color for southern Guilford County, southern Davidson, Randolph, and Montgomery. So we'll all get there eventually, but that's what it looks like, at least for right now, and we'll keep you posted. Obviously, it will change week to week. It always does, doesn't it? Temperatures right now at about 68 degrees in the Triad. We're at 72 in Raleigh, Fayetteville at 79. Tonight and tomorrow, clouds will hang in there, and we probably will see some fog tonight. The later it goes into the night and into tomorrow morning, the more that fog will be dense, and we think that'll be the case for your morning. If you do have to drive somewhere early in the day, just know that that could be an issue. It takes it usually till about mid-morning for fog to burn off. It might be a little earlier on this one, but we'll watch. Otherwise, partly sunny for the rest of your Tuesday at least. And as we look ahead, basically across the area, you will see some gradual clearing, but not until tomorrow. After that, with that high of 75, that's comfortable. We'll take that this time of the year. Mid-70s with sunshine, with lows in the low 50s. That'll be the case pretty much Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and lots of sun. Friday, a small little cold front moves by. Not so much moisture with it, but just cooler air back behind it. We'll go with about a 30% chance of a shower Friday. But look at these weekend temperatures, 60s and 40s, barely. Low 60s, low 40s, and lots of sun for Saturday and Sunday.
Next at 4:30, Amazon continues investing in Guilford County. Their plans for another distribution center coming up.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Tahitian Voice and Eric Chilton, both working from home this afternoon. But we are still connected, just like we're connected with you, because this is an interactive show. So during the breaks, keep chatting with us on our Facebook page. Make sure to use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. Well, let's jump right in and get to your 4 to 5 roundup this Monday afternoon. Amazon is opening a new delivery station in Whitsett next year. Amazon officials say the new facility will bring hundreds of full-time jobs that will pay a minimum of $15 an hour. This will be the third Amazon delivery station in the Triad, the 9th in North Carolina. The company says they've created nearly 13,000 jobs in our state in the last 10 years. Today, public libraries in Alamance County opened for grab-and-go service. The May Memorial, Graham, and Mebane libraries are now letting people inside to quickly browse, check out, and exit the building. They're limited to 30 minutes for browsing or 1 hour on the computer. Masks are required and there's a limited capacity. Social distancing is being enforced and other protective measures are in place. They're open on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 until 2. Cone Health will now put COVID-19 numbers online along with a prediction model that the health system uses to guide decision-making during the pandemic. That model is also being used by schools and businesses to track key metrics and plan ahead. The website has virus information for all 100 North Carolina counties. It shows how cases have spiked and gone down to show if the virus is spreading quickly or slowly. There's also a risk assessment tool that allows people to select the size of a gathering and estimate how many people with COVID-19 are likely to be there. You can find it on coviddata.conehealth.com. And the High Point Furniture Market starts tomorrow and will run through the 21st. The extended event will allow people to visit in 3 different periods, spacing out guests to allow social distancing. They'll also have virtual keynote series, and some vendors will have a virtual showroom. The pandemic canceled the spring market. Furniture Market is a multi-billion-dollar event for our state.
A judge must apply the law as it is written, not as she wishes it were. But I never let the law define my identity or crowd out the rest of my life. A similar principle applies to the role of courts.
Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett says that she is forever grateful for the path laid by the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but she stated that she will apply the law as written. In day one of her confirmation hearing, senators highlighted her role as a mother, noting she would be the first mother of school-age children in the high court. In Barrett's opening statement, she said she asks herself how she would view a decision if one of her 7 children were in the party she was ruling against. Senate hearings will continue for the next 3 days.
President Donald Trump is making his first campaign stop in Florida today since he was diagnosed with coronavirus. And later this week, the president is campaigning here in North Carolina. On Thursday, President Trump is hosting a Make America Great Again rally in Greenville at the Pitt Greenville Airport. He is scheduled to speak at 1 p.m., but gates will open at 10. Meanwhile, Democratic nominee Joe Biden campaigned in Ohio today. He's speaking at 2 events. The first speech is on his plan to revitalize the economy, and the next is a voter mobilization event. When asked about Judge Amy Coney Barrett's nomination, Biden said he believes a candidate's faith should never be questioned and expressed a bigger concern with her possible plans to remove the Affordable Care Act.
The deadline to register to vote was Friday, but fear not, if you miss that deadline, you can still vote. So listen up. You can register and vote at the same time starting this Thursday. That's when early voting starts. It goes from Thursday the 15th and runs through the 31st of this month. You can visit any one-stop site and provide proof of your residency. There, you'll be able to cast your ballot, and the County Board of Elections will review your registration and address. Once the board approves your registration, your vote is counted. Now, if you're worried about how you can safely vote in person this election season, our Cone Health experts have the answers for you coming up at 5:30. You can get answers on what you should take to the polls with you and how you should prepare. You can text all your questions right now if you want to 336-379-5775. You can also ask your questions on our Facebook page. Remember, this is a texting line. so don't call, and we'll get to your questions at 5:30. The daily number of new reported coronavirus cases is down for the second day in a row. Those cases are down more than 400 compared to yesterday's numbers. The new number of daily cases as it stands right now is at more than 1,200, down from yesterday's reported 1,700 cases. With 96% of hospitals reporting right now, our percent of positive tests is over 6% as of Saturday, and more than 1,100 people are currently hospitalized from coronavirus.
3 schools in Rockingham County are moving to virtual learning after a coronavirus exposure. The district says Douglas Elementary School's 3rd grade was exposed to COVID-19. Students and staff at Wentworth and Lincoln Elementary Schools were also exposed. Now, today was a planning day for teachers, and students will start remote learning again tomorrow. Impacted students at Wentworth and Douglas will return to classrooms on October 22nd. At Lincoln Elementary, they'll return on the 26th. Childcare at Wentworth and Lincoln schools was not exposed, but they closed today for deep cleaning and will resume tomorrow. Rockingham County school leaders are scheduled to vote on a re-entry plan for elementary schools tonight. The district is operating under Plan B. That's a mix between online and in-person learning. Governor Roy Cooper announced back in September that schools could send elementary students back to classrooms full-time. Rockingham County is considering that while maintaining Plan B for transportation, which includes socially distanced restrictions. WFMY News 2 will have updates on that meeting for you tonight at 11.
If you need a coronavirus test in Guilford County, the health department is hosting multiple free testing events this week. All testing will be at the Department of Health on 1100 East Wendover Avenue. Testing is available on Wednesday and Friday from 9 a.m. to noon, or Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. You do need to schedule an appointment. You can do so by calling the number on your screen. There's also free testing available in Winston-Salem this week. Testing is happening Friday in Louisville at Shallow Ford Square from 3 to 6 p.m. You can also get your flu shot while you're there.
Well, we're talking about a forecast that really is, we're going to see some changes coming up here in the next day or so. And not so much major sky condition changes, but we're really watching for the weekend colder air to start moving. And that's when we really see a lot of change coming in. We talked about that, the leaves changing already in the higher elevations. You really have to go up to the Boone area, maybe Jefferson, to see that. But we're comfortable around here. In fact, we're going to get a little warmer over the next day or two. We're at 68 right now, but we look for those temperatures to go into the 70s as we head into the next really 3 days in a row all across the area. We just don't see any major temperature change until the weekend. That's when things will change dramatically for us. And we'll watch those temperatures go from the 70s for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to mid 60s Friday. And for your weekend, even though we're sunny, we are cold. Look for highs only in the low 60s and lows in the low 40s.
74 days. That is how long we have to wait until Christmas, but more and more people are getting a jump start on decorating this year, and the pandemic could be to blame. Most are spending more time at home, and studies show that holiday decor makes people generally happier. We're having this conversation on my Facebook page because people, and by people I mean me, have Christmas on the brain. So Leah Sluter said, I'm not usually about Christmas, but this year it seems like it needs more cheer than normal, so we plan on putting our tree up before Thanksgiving too. That's awesome. Elizabeth said, no, about a week before Christmas I decorate, or when the holiday cards come out, I decorate as I go. I walked into Costco and the Christmas trees are already up. It takes away from the anticipation. Heidi says, I always start on November 1st because it takes me until the week before Thanksgiving to finish. Tradition is everything is lit after Thanksgiving dinner. I love that tradition. Brenda Wagner says she's agreeing with me. She's all about Christmas. She wrapped a bunch of presents yesterday and the tree will be up before Thanksgiving. She says she likes to get ahead of the things so she can enjoy the holidays without being stressed. I like that perspective. And John Scott says, Maddie, I already got my Christmas tree up. And to you, John, I say go. That's awesome. I love that. See, Tahisha, I know you'll agree with me. I don't really know how Eric feels about this. I am going out of town this weekend to see my sister, but when I get back, I might put the tree up before Halloween.
Why not? Why not? And if you're really feeling festive, maybe get a Halloween ornament and put that on there while you're at it. I'm all for the Christmas trees. You guys know last year I put mine up mid-October. It's actually around this time last year I had my tree up. You see that tree behind me? I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put the tree this year. I may put it up here so you can see it when I go live from home. We'll see.
I think so. I think if it's up and you're still live from your house to Hayes Show, we need to be able to see the tree. Here's the thing. I did buy a Christmas tree scented candle, and that might hold me over a little bit longer. Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, this is what I think. We should all put up a tree right now. We'll decorate it for Halloween. Then we take down the decorations, decorate it for Thanksgiving, then put your Christmas decorations on it. You got it covered.
What do you put on a Thanksgiving Christmas tree? Like a turkey leg? Like
Little
some
tiny
foliage?
A cornucopia? You know those little cornucopias?
Yeah.
Put one of those.
Some stuffing?
Yes.
Gravy?
Yes. Little horns of plenty.
We'll be right back. Stick around.
A 16-year-old girl is achieving her goal of becoming an Eagle Scout. Our sister station introduces us to Cami Timmons and explains why this is such a big achievement.
Todd Allen has been involved with Boy Scouts pretty much his entire life.
Push that towards this way.
And during that time, he's seen many scouts achieve the rank of Eagle Scout. But he's never seen one like this.
No, none quite like this, but it is exciting for sure.
Later this month, 16-year-old Cami Timmons will become one of the first female Eagle Scouts in the country.
Going at an angle.
Cami, a sophomore at Bishop Lynch High School, says growing up, she always wanted to join Boy Scouts, but had pretty much given up on that dream until last year, when the Boy Scouts announced that girls would be allowed to join.
And then there's all those like memories and dreams and wants just came back.
Cami says she wanted to join Boy Scouts because it looked like fun, But make no mistake, she's not just here to have a good time.
You know, the only reason I really had wanted to do it was so that I could do it fully and get Eagle Scout.
Since joining, Cammie has collected enough badges, done enough volunteer work, and shown enough leadership to earn Eagle Scout. For her Eagle project, she donated masks, hand sanitizer, and other supplies to her childhood school to help students learn safely. By the time she earns her badge for kayaking, and a couple more, she will break a barrier that has stood for 110 years. Cammie is proud of her accomplishment, but says this is a whole lot bigger than her own success.
I want to be an example to other girls, and I want to show them that they can do anything that they want to do, and anything that they set their mind to, it can be done.
Because every scout knows, when you have a chance to pave the way, it's good to be prepared.
110 years that streak is going to be broken. And you know what I love about this story, Maddie and Eric, is that you can be a role model at any age. A lot of people think, oh, you know, I'm not big in my career, or I'm just, you know, I'm 12, I'm 13, I'm 14, but there's always going to be someone younger than you looking up. So just keep that in mind. And I'm so proud of her.
Yes, Tahisha, preaching this afternoon. I like that. You know, this is such a prestigious award. We always hear about these amazing feats that Boy Scouts go through to get this honor. And I'm so happy for Cammie to hear that she was able to accomplish this. And like Tahisha said, I mean, certainly paving the way for others to follow suit.
I just, every Eagle Scout that I've ever known has been so successful in whatever they do. They're so driven and organized and smart, and that's why I wasn't an Eagle Scout. So I tried.
We've already talked about our scouting failures on this show. Do we need to rehash that again?
It's so sad.
Oh.
I didn't even make it out of Cub Scouts. So, all right, let's move along, shall we? I think we should. You know, Halloween is coming up very soon. Families are wondering, what is Halloween going to look like with the pandemic? Well, we're taking a look inside the city of Burlington. They've got some cool programs coming up. We'll have that in just a minute.
I want to live in that mansion. Playboy buddy, what's happening?
So only 19 days until Halloween. The question is, have you made your plans yet? Obviously, Halloween's going to look a little bit different this year, but cities and towns all across the region, they're changing with the times and kind of rolling with it, coming up with something new. We talked with Emily Crowley with the city of Burlington. She had a couple of pretty cool ideas. Emily, everybody has to do things differently this year, and I guess Halloween in B-Town, as you guys like to call it, is going to be different as well. So we're going to look at some images, I know, of stuff you guys have done in the past, like Dark in the Park. But this year, let's talk about the two events and how they're totally different, really, from anything you guys have done.
Yeah, our motto this year is really just adapt and evolve. We want to keep having fun with our community in any way possible. So in place of Dark in the Park this year, we're doing a Halloween cruise through. So people will be able to drive through in their vehicles and experience Halloween. People in costumes, some performances. We've got our Upside Aerial live stilt performances and also a witch's dance through Alamance Arts. Some of our other local nonprofits that we've worked with are also coming in costume with decorations, and we will be giving out Halloween goodie bags at the end of the cruise through. So anybody that's participating can include something, but of course those will include candy, a craft, and some coupons for some of our local businesses.
And now also, the thing I like too, the second event we're going to talk about, although this is happening with both of them, but it's not just the day of Halloween. I mean, these are going on for several days, right? And then there's also a scavenger hunt, is that correct?
Yeah, so typically for downtown, we work with our merchants and we do a big trick-or-treat event. We're trying to limit the number of contact points this year. And we still want folks to get in downtown Burlington and learn about our businesses, but not create a financial burden or an impact on those merchants. So we're doing a scavenger hunt. A lot of the merchants are participating. We have 30, and so they will have a bat hiding in their windows. We've got scavenger hunt cards that folks can pick up, and the scavenger hunt will run for 2 weeks. So you and your family can either print out a card, pick up a card, and kind of do it on your own time. And then we've got some really great prizes for folks who complete the scavenger hunt.
That's awesome. Well, we love this event. Anything that's interactive and it keeps families together too. Thank you for taking time out today. Good stuff you're doing down there. Fun times there. I think it's really cool to get the scavenger hunt. It draws people downtown, as well as it's fun for the kids to go around and try to find all the little bats in the windows. It's a neat idea, and they said they had to come up with, because they've had some long-standing events, they had to come up with something to keep people engaged.
Absolutely, and anything that they can offer that will just keep people safe. Don't laugh at me messing up words, Eric. I see you. Okay, don't laugh at me, Mason.
I was laughing because you.
I know it's been a long day.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a Monday. I think this is awesome what Burlington is doing. Tahisha.
Yeah, do you remember at the beginning of the year when we were so excited about how holidays land this year? I mean, Halloween is still on a Saturday. So my question to you all is, whether or not you have plans to go somewhere, is what are you going to be? This is like the one day you can dress up and be whoever you want to be, and it's okay.
I'm going to be sitting
We
on
could
the
be
couch
ourselves
in
from
sweatpants.
2019. How about that?
All right. I think I'd look a little more fresh. This year's been draining.
You look beautiful, very bright and glowy today. Jill, I have nothing nice to say to you anymore.
I know you're done with me. All right, let's talk about the weather, shall we? Maddie has written me off. It's not the first time, by the way. We see a couple of scattered showers in our mountain communities across the area. Not anything major. In fact, we think most of this, the fog and the cloud cover, will probably head out by tomorrow mid-morning, we hope, midday at the latest. And once that front kind of sweeps all that out, and we're left with great weather. How about 70s and 50s? If this isn't fall in North Carolina, I don't know what is. 70s and 50s for really Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, though, it's a little bit of a game changer. That next frontal boundary will push its way through, and that will bring in cold air just in time for the weekend. We'll look for temperatures to go from those 70s and 50s to barely in the 60s and 40s for Saturday, Sunday, although we do see a good bit of sunshine for the whole weekend and into Monday.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5, it's been 1 year since Zanelle Tucker was run over and killed by the driver of an SUV at a gas station. Now, 1 year later, family and friends are gathering for a vigil honoring the victims of that deadly incident. Hear from family members next at 5. Hello, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check.
Right here over my shoulder is the site where that Amazon delivery center is expected to open in 2021. You can see there are construction crews.
In private way. Hey, mic check. Okay, across the street at the Exxon gas station on Westgate City Boulevard, so many families' lives were forever changed by violence. 30-year-old Zanelle Tucker lost her life.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Hopefully your Monday is doing well. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia.
It's time for my 2 cents. On his podcast, Shaquille O'Neal revealed that he voted last week. Not that big of a deal until he said it's the first time he's ever voted. He's 48 years old. While it is certainly surprising to hear that Shaq hasn't voted before, I am so glad he admitted this publicly because it normalizes it. It is so easy for us to get stuck in the thought pattern that if we've never done something before, we don't have to do it now or in the future, even if that something is as important as voting in an election. Shaq admitting to not voting and then getting out of his comfort zone and making a change could inspire others to do the same, and I hope that it does. But what also stood out to me was why he said he hadn't voted before. He said in the past he was confused about how the Electoral College worked, and he even mentioned the 2016 election where Donald Trump won the electoral vote, even though his opponent Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. And yes, I understand why he and many others feel like their vote doesn't make a difference. But it does, especially in North Carolina, a battleground state. All of this to say that I'm glad a celebrity is normalizing this. Confusion about the process, not participating in the past, but ultimately owning up to all of it and making a change to inspire others. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5 at WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.